my little cherry blossoms and baguettes. Today I'm setting up my travel journal pages for my trip. I hope you'll grab a snack or a beverage and join me. This video will be going up on the day that I leave for Paris, so I am very excited. So I just used some post-it notes to mark off some pages I wanted to include. I ended up watching quite a few other creators' videos to get some ideas for what sorts of pages to include in my travel journal, and I did find a lot of amazing inspiration. I wanted to use my sparkly pink billowing blush ink for the headings and decorative text since I thought that was very springy and romantic, so I just changed out the ink in my calligraphy pen. These pens come with the refillable converters, which is so helpful. I started off with the packing list pages since I knew I would want those for sure, and I wasn't sure what I wanted to do for my cover pages yet. I am glad that I started with these since I messed up the writing a little bit, and then later when I went back over it, I don't think I made it any better. And as much as I'm trying to learn to be okay with imperfection in my art, I'm glad that I didn't mess up the cover pages. Speaking of which, I went back and forth on doing a little illustration, a little Parisian vignette, kind of like the practice travel sketches I've made shorts of, or if I wanted to do something else. But I'm still in my Art Nouveau era, if that's still something that people say. In my journal, at least. I'm still working on being in my Art Nouveau era in real life, too. And Art Nouveau was really big in Paris and in France around the turn of the 20th century. There's still a lot of Art Nouveau architecture that still stands in Paris, like these really beautiful metro stops. So I thought that this worked thematically to continue with my Art Nouveau inspiration, and so I took some inspiration from some Art Nouveau fonts and some swirlies and twirlies and some lilies of the valley for my cover pages. So back in 2010, I was engaged to be married, and we had the whole wedding planned out, including our honeymoon, which was to be in Paris. And yes, if you're doing the math, I was old enough to be married in 2010, and I am an old lady now. Only a few months before the wedding was supposed to happen, we ended up having to call it off. There was a specific reason for it at the time, but it's also sort of threw into relief the more general issues with our relationship and how bad our relationship had gotten at that point, so we ended up breaking up as well. We still had the honeymoon planned though, so we had plane tickets and hotel reservations and everything, so instead of him and I going together, we moved things around so that I could bring my two best friends who were supposed to have been my bridesmaids. I will be forever grateful for him managing to help us get that done. He was a good person, he was a good guy, he just didn't love me, not really. And that's okay. I'm glad we figured all of that out before we actually got married, and in general everything worked out much better than I could have imagined at the time because I got to reunite with the love of my life and eventually married him years later. The trip, though, was honestly magical. I dreamt of going to France and especially Paris since I was a little girl obsessed with ballet and Monet and Beauty and the Beast and lots of other French things, and it was everything I could have dreamed, if a little bit more emotionally strange and fraught than I might have imagined as a little girl. Having my two best friends with me was such a wonderful experience. I was so grateful that they were able to do that with me, and I was so grateful to have them with me during such a difficult and strange time in my life. So the three of us have wanted to go back ever since, and finally this year, we and our husbands have managed to do it, and I can't believe it's actually happening. I mentioned this in an earlier video, but we had everything booked for a trip at the beginning of 2020, just before the pandemic broke out here, and obviously that trip didn't happen. It still doesn't feel completely real, and it probably won't until we're on the plane. The reason I chose Lilies of the Valley is because it will be May Day when we're there, and on May 1st, which is May Day, the tradition in France is to give one another little sprigs of Lily of the Valley flowers for good luck and in celebration of the spring beginning. It's also their Labor Day, the same day as International Workers' Day, so I think the ideas are related now, but I don't think they started off that way. We're planning on doing a lot of walking around the city that day, hopefully making it to a lot of the parks and gardens and public areas since there are usually demonstrations and a lot of things are closed. So, Lilies of the Valley are symbolic of the time we're going to be there and, of course, the spring in general. And Lilies of the Valley are a motif that shows up in a lot of Art Nouveau as well, so I thought that they worked perfectly thematically for this cover page. sketched in some swirly twirly borders with my Tombow markers before going back over them with some sparkly paint, which you will see later. I am nothing if not consistent in my love of sparkly things. And here are some more borders, some swirly twirly borders sketched in with Tombow markers before going back in with sparkly paint later on. And the other pages I ended up making for flight info and hotel info, as well as an itinerary page. And I marked off a page per day for writing, but I decided not to decorate those pages or date them since I'm not really sure how much space I'm going to want per day. And if I end up doing a lot of sketching, for instance, I will need more space. And then comes an extra fun part, stickers and decoration and washi tape and various other pretty things to add. A lot of these are from Notebook Therapy's Paris collection, which was part of a gift from my best friend a couple of years ago. She got me this journal that I'm using and a lot of these stickers and this beautiful ephemera to go with it. And some of this is stuff that I've just collected over the years. I'm really excited to get to use these stickers since I've been saving them for exactly this time. One of my resolutions this year was to really use up a lot of the sticker board I've accumulated over the years, because I do still have that little kid mentality of needing stickers to go in the perfect spot, which means I just end up not using them. I used a lot of these little item stickers on the packing lists, and then some that look like photos on the other pages. And then this is, of course, me adding some sparkly paint to my swirly borders again. This is just sort of a swatch page of the Paris-themed washi tapes that I have from that notebook therapy set. And I almost didn't include this in the video, but it came out kind of cute. I added a couple of extra stickers to kind of round it out a little bit. While I don't think I'm going to bring the washi tape with me, I did decide to bring these sticker sheets since they fit so nicely and perfectly into this little pocket in the back of my journal. The washi tape I think will take up a little bit more space than I would like, but I wanted to remember what they looked like in case when I am writing my journal pages I might want to end up leaving some space to put them in later. And here's that washi tape swatch page a little closer up. And here's just a final little flip through of the pages. You can see I went pretty simple with the cover pages. And the packing list and the carry-on packing list, and you can see where I messed up that K. Again, we're embracing our imperfections. The flight and hotel and itinerary pages. The pages I marked off per day with post-it notes for placeholders. And here's a little close-up of those stickers so you can see how cute they are. I'm pretty pleased with how this came out. I didn't have any real ideas going into it, and it's not as cohesive as I might have liked, but honestly, my life is not particularly cohesive either, so that works out just fine. And here you can see the sparkles on the swirly borders a little bit better too. Thank you so much for being here with me. Thank you for watching along. I hope you liked this video, and if you did, I'd be so thrilled if you left a like or a comment or decided to subscribe. If you have any suggestions on what to do in Paris or would like to see a video about the trip when I'm back, please leave a comment as well. Thank you again so much for being here with me. As always, have courage, be kind, and always look for the light. Bye!